Billionaire CEO looked down from her glass tower and felt something she hadn't felt in years: jealousy. The billionaire CEO looked down from her glass tower and felt something she hadn't felt in years: jealousy. It startled her so deeply that she stepped back from the window as if the emotion itself might burn her. Below, on the crowded sidewalk 20 stories down, a man laughed with a little girl perched on his shoulders, her small hands tangled in his hair as if the world could never take him away from her. The sound couldn't reach her office, but she imagined it anyway: warm, unguarded, real. Everything her empire was not. Evelyn Cross had built her life on discipline. At 42, she was the youngest woman to ever lead Crosswell Industries, a multinational powerhouse of steel, tech, and real estate. She owned penthouses in 3 cities, flew private, and commanded boardrooms with a single raised eyebrow. Magazines called her untouchable. Employees whispered that she was brilliant but cold. None of them knew how quiet her life was when the doors closed, how silence filled rooms larger than most homes. That morning, her assistant reminded her of the company's annual community redevelopment inspection, a project Evelyn herself had approved years ago for tax reasons and public image. Normally she would have sent a representative. Instead, something unsettled in her chest made her say, "I'll go." The site was a renovated community center at the edge of the city, where glass towers gave way to cracked sidewalks and old brick buildings. Children ran across the yard, their laughter echoing off faded walls. Evelyn stood out immediately in her tailored coat and heels. She felt exposed, stripped of the armor her office gave her. That was when she saw him again, the man from the sidewalk. His name, she would later learn, was Daniel Reyes. He was 38, a widowed single father who worked 2 jobs, mornings as a maintenance supervisor at the center and nights driving a delivery van. The little girl was his daughter, Sophia, age 7, bright-eyed and fearless. Sophia was the first to approach Evelyn, staring up at her with curiosity instead of awe. "You look sad," she said simply. Evelyn blinked. No one had spoken to her like that in decades. "I'm not," she replied automatically. Sophia tilted her head. "You are. My daddy looks like that sometimes." Daniel rushed over, apologizing, embarrassed, but Evelyn waved him off. For reasons she couldn't explain, she stayed. She listened as Daniel explained how the center kept kids off the streets, how he volunteered extra hours because he knew what it was like to grow up with nothing. Evelyn nodded, professional and distant, yet something in his voice chipped away at her defenses. Over the following weeks, Evelyn found excuses to return. She told herself it was oversight. Data collection. Responsibility. But slowly, she began to notice things that had nothing to do with budgets: the way Daniel always knelt to Sophia's eye level when he spoke to her, the way the children trusted him instinctively, the way laughter lived naturally in that broken place. Her jealousy deepened, not of his money or success, but of his connection. Daniel had nothing she valued on paper, yet he possessed a richness she had never managed to buy. Their growing closeness did not go unnoticed. Board members warned her about optics. Old friends reminded her of standards. When a tabloid ran a photo of Evelyn laughing with Sophia, headlines mocked her for playing charity queen. The pressure mounted, and for the first time in her career, Evelyn hesitated. Daniel felt it too. When funding delays threatened the center, he assumed the truth, that this world was never meant to last. One evening, he told Evelyn it might be best if she stopped coming. "People like you don't stay," he said quietly. "And people like me can't afford to pretend." The words cut deeper than any boardroom attack. That night, Evelyn sat alone in her penthouse, staring at city lights that had once symbolized victory. For the first time, they looked empty. She thought of Sophia's blunt honesty, Daniel's exhausted kindness, and the life she had traded for control. The next day, Evelyn made the hardest decision of her life. She redirected a massive corporate expansion budget into permanent community programs, personally guaranteeing funding for centers across the city. She stood before her board and dared them to challenge her. Some resigned. Investors panicked. Her stock dipped. But something extraordinary happened. Employees rallied. Public support surged. Stories replaced scandals. And at the center, when Daniel learned the truth, he didn't see a billionaire, he saw a woman who had finally chosen something real. Months later, Evelyn no longer watched life from a glass tower. She still led an empire, But she also attended school plays, fixed broken swings, and learned how to laugh without measuring the cost. Jealousy faded, replaced by gratitude. Because true wealth, she learned, isn't what you look down on from above, it's what you choose to stand beside, even when it scares you. And sometimes, the bravest success is not climbing higher, but finally coming down.